Hi everyone. Today's video is another mental health video, awareness video, I should say. And it's something slightly different, but I've kind of touched on it in other videos that I've done about being on a ward. Um, so I watched a video earlier about what not to do in prison, and I was like, okay, well, why don't I do one on a ward? So this is 8 things not to do on a ward, and 3 things that you should do. Okay, number 1, don't stare. You might see people with self-harm, scars or fresh cuts or whatever wound. Just be respectful and think if it was you, would you want someone staring at you when you're in a vulnerable state? Personally, my arms are messed up, and if someone stares at me, I'm used to it now, but it's still not nice. And I completely understand it. It's not a normal thing that you would see, in normal day-to-day life a lot of the time. But when people have stared and I've caught them and they've either stared even more or they've looked away and kind of gone, oh no. I don't mind, I get it. But I prefer if people will just look at me, smile, or even say like, oh, what happened there? I think a lot of people are scared to ask questions about someone's mental health, but a lot of the time that person just wants someone to ask the questions because they need to talk about it. And so for me personally, if someone doesn't understand something about my mental health or my self-harm or whatever it is, I want them to ask me about it so that I can then kind of educate them a bit, explain maybe my reasons for doing something, and how certain things have affected me and affect other people in mental health. Yeah, so just be respectful. You're going to have people on the wards that could be paranoid, they could have very high social anxiety, and if you're staring at them, for whatever reason, they're going to get uncomfortable. People might get angry. I don't want to say, but they might get aggressive. I've seen kind of fights start on a ward because someone's been staring at someone, or someone thinks that person's been staring at them, and has taken it the wrong way, and then reacted kind of aggressively. So that's number 1. Number 2, don't flash your cash or brag or show that you have cigarettes. One of my things that you should do is to share, but we'll come on to that later. I'm going to explain my logic to this. If you're openly showing that you have a lot of cigarettes or you have lighters, you have money, people will try and take advantage of that. Whether they mean to do it or not, it's just normal. People will. And it starts off, oh, can I borrow a cig? Can I borrow your lighter? And it's fine. A lot of the time people do just want one cig or a lighter, but some people will take advantage. Some people will take the mick. Once they've had one, they'll ask for about 20 eventually. Oh, could you get me a pack of cigarettes? Oh, could you get me this? Especially if you've got leave to go to the shops and they haven't. You have got to be careful about showing what you have on the ward. There can be stealing. I've woken up in the middle of the night in a dormitory on a ward and had people staring over me and going through my drawers while I'm asleep right next to me. That's really disturbing when you wake up to someone looking down at you trying to find your cigarettes or anything they can just nick from you. So yeah, just be aware of you don't want to make it seem like you have too much because people will take the mick. Number 3, going by being respectful again, be quiet. No loud music blaring, yelling, banging. And I understand, and I think most people on the world understand that people do get upset, they do make noise, they do kick off sometimes. But if you're doing it regularly or you're blasting your music 24 hours a day, people are going to get angry. The staff won't be happy because you'll be disturbing the other patients. The patients won't be happy because you're disturbing them. Especially late at night or early on the morning. I've been woken up by people really early or really late, and you just get angry. And then if on a ward, it's quite hard to sleep as it is. There's a lot of noise in the background. And so I think if you get to sleep, you want to stay asleep. So just be aware of that. You can listen to music, but it's great to have earphones or headphones. And the little tip is, if you don't like loud noises, take some earplugs because it will be loud at times. Number 4, if you self-harm while you have fresh injuries, cover them up. Especially if there's other self-harmers on the ward. If you don't think there's any, it's not you. Yeah, just be aware of other people basically, because it could trigger them. It could make them want to self-harm. It could make them get competitive about their self-harm with you. You've got to be careful around that. I've known patients compete with each other over their self-harm. Like, oh, well, I did this. I had to have stitches today. I had to have this many stitches. Well, I had this many stitches. It's not a good thing to be comparing. It's not a good thing to want to have more of, or to be better at. You know, it's not a competition, and I'll always say that the depths of your wounds doesn't reflect the depths of your emotions either. Um, some of the worst times that I've felt and I've self-harmed, it's been scratches, and some of the times where actually I've been a little bit better have been deeper. So it's not a reflection. And just because one person hasn't had stitches before doesn't mean that they're not suffering just as much as someone who has had stitches. So please just be aware about, upsetting other people and not wanting to trigger them. If you are like too hot to wear a jumper or long sleeves or whatever like that, you could get a bandage from the staff, you get a plaster or gauze, pads. So there's ways around it. There is. Number 5, don't hide contraband where another patient might find it or another patient might see you putting it there. Especially things like blades, drugs, lighters. None of that's good, and you don't want anyone else to get hold of those kind of things. I've taken all 3 onto wards, but I've never shared them, and I've always kept it quiet and not really told anyone unless someone else I know has the same kind of thing. But I've been told that people have hid blades in the toilet paper holders in the bathrooms and the wards because they think no one's going to look in there. But then you've got the domestics putting more toilet paper in and cutting the hands up. So even if it's not about the patients, but the staff you don't want the risk of the staff getting hurt. You don't want the risk of the domestics getting hurt. It's not worth it. And I think personally, if I had put something somewhere and someone got hurt by that or used a drug that I'd left somewhere lying around, like, I'd feel terrible. So yeah, again, something to be aware of is that people will try and get those things on a ward. People will try and sneak them in. A lot of people do have things that they shouldn't, whether they admit that or not. I just think you have got to be careful, and even if you haven't got an attitude of caring about other people getting hurt, don't share your drugs. Like, who wants to give their drugs away for free? You know what I mean? If we're going to that level, don't do it, man. Okay, number 6, be polite to staff. So sorry, this is a do, so I should make this. Please do not be rude to staff. It's easy. They can get annoying. They can be incompetent at times. They don't communicate very well all the time on the ward with you. You don't always have a full idea of what's going on in your care, what the plan is, when discharge is, when you're having meetings. There's a lot going on around you, and you're not always kept very informed. And there's other reasons that people get annoyed with staff. Some staff can be rude, some staff can be patronising or condescending, or minimising, and people get annoyed at the staff, and that's fair enough, and I think they accept that they all make mistakes. It's just how you handle it as well. I've had staff treat me like dirt, and the moment I've kind of retaliated and got angry back, I'm the one that's in the wrong. I'm the one that gets punished. No cigarettes, no leave, things like that. And it can be two-sided. That's what people need to be aware of, I think, on mental health wards. The staff can be rude, they can be inconsiderate, they can be almost aggressive at times, they can treat you without dignity, without respect. And so people do retaliate, they do get annoyed at staff. Some people do try and hit a staff member, or kick off at them and start yelling, or whatever. You've got to be aware of the people around you on the ward as well, though. It's if you're kicking off at the staff, that's going to make the other patients feel scared. They might not know that you won't be violent, they might not know your intentions, they don't know you, so they in their heads could be thinking, I'm going to get hurt here, this staff member's going to get hurt here, and it's scary. I've been on wards and we've had some quite ill patients who have been aggressive and violent. And it is scary. It is, because you think, you could be a target. If they're going for the staff, they're not going to care about hitting a patient or, whatever to a patient. But thankfully, most of the times I've seen this happen, the staff have reacted quickly. They've got the person either in a restraint or they've injected them usually. They'll put them in a de-escalation room, inject them in the bum and let them sleep it off. And kind of linking into this, number 7 is apologise if you kick off, or you did something that maybe might have upset someone. Always apologise. It takes a lot sometimes to say you're sorry for something that you may think, well, I was entitled to feel that way, I was entitled to be that way. But it's thinking about other people's emotions and their experiences too. I've had to bite my lip at staff or stop myself doing things because I think I don't want to upset the other patients. And there's been times where I've really had to fight with myself to not try and kick the door open, or to not try and barge past people in the door to get away, or, you know, whatever it is. I'm not a violent person, but people get hurt accidentally. You know, if you're trying to run out of a door and they're grabbing you, people can get trapped, people can get hit. Like, and if you accidentally hit someone, they're going to treat you badly, whether you did it on purpose or not. But if you apologise and you say, you know, I'm sorry, I was upset, I wasn't thinking properly, or, you know, whatever, just be genuine about it. Most people are going to be like, yep, that's cool, you know, no worries. We understand you get upset, we understand things happen. So yeah, just I think the whole point of this is be respectful to everyone on the ward, whether it's staff or patients. Because either way, it's going to make people scared if you start treating people badly or making their admissions harder. And being on the ward is bad enough as it is. No one wants to be there, really. You know, it's not a nice place to be. It's not a place where many people really feel safe. Or at least personally, I know I've never really felt safe on wards. Even though they say that's kind of like the ultimate safe place. Well, they've locked you in the building with a load of people who are, you know, quite unwell. And staff who sometimes get quite cynical and jaded after a while in business. God, I don't know, you know what I mean, that work. And it's sad because actually the staff I've got on with the best usually, or I found the most willing to help, the most open-minded, the most just generally best have been the students. And I think because they have a fresh attitude, they're not jaded, they've not seen it all before and think, oh, this is just another case of BPD, this is just another case of depression. They see people as people, they see them as their symptoms and their struggle, but they see them as people, I think, more. Not all students, obviously, but a lot of the ones I've encountered have been better than the actual qualified staff. And I've known staff who have worked on the ward as a student, and then I've been discharged and I've come back and actually working there as a qualified, however long afterwards. And you can tell their attitude changes so quickly. I don't know whether it's the fact that, you know, you've got a lot of responsibility, there's a lot of paperwork to be done, especially if you're the nurse in charge, I get that. But it saddens me because these people go in with such great intentions and really good hearts, and they just get beaten down because they think people lie to them, and they do, but I think people on wards think people are more manipulative than they are. That's my experience. I know a lot of people who have been accused of being manipulative, and me too, I have been. And I know personally that I've been 100% genuine, there was never an intention to manipulate anyone, but because they see a lot of it, it's like the police, you know, they get lied to so much that they don't know when people are telling the truth all the time. It's a similar thing. If you're constantly being lied to all day, you're not going to presume someone that you meet on the street is telling you the truth. So yeah, I don't know. And the last thing, number 8, is to don't talk about private things that others share with you. Or talk about people behind the back on a ward. They'll find out. A ward's a small place. People do gossip. But it can cause a lot of issues, a lot of mistrust, a lot of tension. You don't want that. And especially, you know, if someone shared something with you about their life or their illness or whatever's going on for them, just think, would you like it if you shared something with someone personal and then they just went, oh yeah, so-and-so told me this? You won't be happy. Again, it comes back to treating people like you want to be treated and being respectful on the ward. Yeah, just treat people how you want to be treated on there, and usually you'll be treated quite well back. Not 100% of the time, you know, people will be angry, people will have bad days, including the staff. But again, if they're willing to apologise or you're willing to forgive them, it makes life a lot easier on the ward. And so my 3 things what to do. I'm going to actually make this 4 because I thought of something extra. So let me just jot this down so I don't forget it. So, number 1, what to do? Be respectful. Number 2, take distractions. So things like magazines, puzzle books, painting equipment, drawing, reading, fiction books, non-fiction books, anything that you enjoy that will keep your mind active while you're there, but that you can also do to relax and unwind. So knitting is another good thing. Anything you can do with your hands while you're kind of focusing on music or a video. A little tip that I will say is take short charging cables. If you have a longer one, they're more likely to take it off you and say, oh yeah, you're going to have to charge it in the office. And that means that every time you want to charge your phone, you have to have the phone in the office, and you go and get it later when you think it's charged. If you have a really short charging cable, you can get some about this long. You can say to them, well, look, what can I do with that? I'm not going to be able to tie a ligature or anything with something that big. Can I please keep the cable? And then usually they'll say yes if they're all right. And yeah, you've kind of got to sometimes choose who to ask as well. Which, yeah, pick your right staff member for the right thing. I had some staff members that'd be great at getting me out on leave, but weren't very good at one-to-ones, or the other way around. You know what I mean? So when you get to know the staff as well, you can kind of work with them a bit better, and you'll know who you feel confident going to about each thing. Personally, like, I would sometimes go to one nurse for my PTSD stuff and another for my depression, just because I felt one understood one more than the other, or was maybe had awareness of it themselves from their own lives and their own experiences. You want to take some hygiene products with you, so like bath wash, shower gel, obviously shampoo, conditioner, a hairbrush, a toothbrush, toothpaste. You won't really be allowed things like nail clippers, scissors, things like that, unless maybe you're supervised, so just be aware that you won't be able to keep those things on you. You might want to take some treats, so if you say you've got a sweet tooth, take some little bags of chocolate, or get a multi-pack or something to bring you a multi-pack or something in, or crisps, because it's amazing how when you're struggling, just a little treat can kind of lift you up. Even if it is just a bag of Maltesers, you know what I mean? Like, you'll take the small things when you're on a ward, like, just to take it where you can. And you'll also want a little bit of money, but not a lot, just in case it gets stolen. So I would say normally £20 is quite decent, because you can kind of keep that on you. It's not a lot to lose. But if you want to get a takeaway one night, you want to buy a newspaper, you want to go to the shop and get some more Maltesers, whatever, yeah, it just helps. But you don't want to have a lot on you, because it does make you a target for people trying to rob off you. You might want to give your credit cards or your debit cards to someone you trust, who can get the money out for you and bring it to you. I used to give my dad my cards, so I wouldn't have it in case it got stolen. And my dad, when he visited, would bring me some more money if I needed it, which worked quite well. I am aware that not everyone has someone that they can do that with, but it's worth trying if you can, just for peace of mind as well. And I think that's it. Oh, my fourth one that I added, sorry, PRN. This is something that a lot of people who, when they first go onto ward, don't know about. PRN is a Latin name. It's pro something, I don't know what it means, what the exact Latin is, but it basically means medication taken when needed. So it's things like lorazepam, zopiclone, diazepam, promethazine, haloperidol. There's quite a few that people use. And it can, like, the lorazepam or diazepam is obviously a benzodiazepine. They will calm you down. Haloperidol is an antipsychotic that'll kind of quieten your head down a bit, calm your thoughts, and for me it kind of just eases the fear that I've got. Whether that's linked to the medication somehow or just placebo effect, I don't know, but it helps me anyway. And it does quieten my voices down, it quietens my head down. Basically, I'm not saying abuse this, I'm not saying do it regularly, but it's something that you can ask for. And you'll usually be written up when you first go onto a ward for lorazepam and zopiclone. If you're not, you can always ask for it. Not every ward's happy to give it as much as others, but I found personally, when I was really at my darkest moments, thinking that I could go and ask, can I get this? And I knew that in half an hour I might feel a bit better and calmer, was quite helpful. And even just having the option, not even having to actually take the meds, but knowing, well, if this carries on, in 10-20 minutes I'll go ask for some PRN, and you can keep doing that, and gradually you get your way through the day. Yeah, don't abuse it, and the staff won't give you it if you abuse it. So you have got to be responsible, you've got to be trustworthy. But basically, you can go up to a staff member and say, please can I get some PRN? Or something to help ease my anxiety, or to calm me down, please. and usually you can get something, and it might just ease you off. It might stop you reaching such a high point in your emotions or such a dangerous point in your emotions. I know personally, like some of the worst times for me was PRN has been a lifesaver, like literally. Um, and I don't like taking tablets, but I know that if I know it's going to help and I know it's worth it, then I'd say take it. Don't abuse it, but take it if you can. Um, Hopefully it'll help you out a bit. So that's it, guys. That's my 8 things not to do on the wards and my 4 things to do. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to be filming another video soon about what to expect in your first 48 hours when you're sectioned, and kind of give people an idea of how it will play out, what will happen, the process, things like that. So if you're interested in that, check it out. It should be probably up in a few days. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this and found it kind of helpful and informative. I hope so anyway. If you did enjoy it, please leave a like, feel free to subscribe, that means the world to me, and take care, stay safe.